All right. We are talking about skin diseases, basically, but all as it regards the amino acid cysteine, the hardening amino acid. Last program we said all disease is cell disease. We say that all the time. But we left off the program talking about the area of the cell, the problem in the cell where all the breakdown occurs, and that's in the information processing coating of the cell, that tiny little sliver of stuff called the cell membrane. The cell membrane is the interface between the outside world of a cell and the inside world of a cell. The outside world of a cell has to pass through the brain, the information processor section of a cell, the membrane, and then that message is communicated to the inside of a cell, and that's how everything gets done. A cell is a little animal. We always see it as a little circle in the biology books, but it's really like a blob, a little animal blob that kind of crawls around, does stuff, makes stuff. And what it makes and how much it makes or how little it makes is all determined by the information that is passing through the membrane from the outside world. So information about what's going on outside, toxicity or lack of toxicity or nutrition or oxygenation, all the stuff and all the information via the chemistry of the outside world of a cell has to pass through that information processor, much like our outside world has to pass through our brain, and then the information goes into the inside of a cell. And then whatever a cell does, it does based on what it's being told to do by the membrane, the membrane, as in brain, B-R-A-I-N, brain of a cell, this information processing element, the central computer chip of a cell. This is the cell membrane, and it's largely made from fat. That alone tells you the fallacy, the nonsense of being on a low-fat or fat-free diet. Fortunately, people don't do that as much anymore. In any case, the cell membrane, the brain of a cell, just like our brain inside our cranium, is largely made of fat, especially of cholesterol, and this is where fat intake and fat malabsorption issues come into the picture. If you have a fat malabsorption issue, if you have an intestinal issue, if you have a stomach problem, if you have a pancreas problem, if you have a liver problem, if God forbid somebody's yanked out your gallbladder telling you nonsensically that you don't need it, you're going to have an issue utilizing fats, and that means you're ultimately going to have cell membrane issues and then cell issues, and because all disease is cell disease, you're likely to wind up with any kind of bodily breakdown. Fatty vitamins are key players in this whole process. In addition to cholesterol, in addition to fats, fatty vitamins have a really important role to play at the level of the cell brain, the cell membrane. In fact, in particular, vitamin A is super important. Vitamin A helps the membrane maintain its integrity. Deficiencies in vitamin A, which follow problems with the gallbladder, liver, pancreas, stomach, intestine, etc., can have an effect on the fluidity of this tiny sliver of stuff that coats the cell, the computer chip that coats the cell. Vitamin A reduces membrane fluidity, and it gives the membrane a certain type of stability. Under conditions of deficiencies, the membrane becomes sloppy and less effective at processing information to the interior of a cell. And as we said, all disease is cell disease. When information processing and messaging break down, any disease is possible. That means in terms of, we're talking skin disease here, in terms of a skin cell, one of the things that can happen is overproduction of keratin, of the protein keratin, the hardening protein keratin. And that means milia, little bumps on the skin. That means keratoses, little bumps on the upper arms. That means acne. That means pimples. That can mean psoriasis too. All of these go hand in hand with vitamin A deficiencies, and this is one of the main reasons why you want to be making sure you're getting 20 to 30,000 international units of vitamin A in a supplemental form. If you are dealing with any of these skin issues, in fact, if you're dealing with any health issues, in fact, just take 20 to 30 international units of vitamin A a day, even if you think that you're healthy. And beta-carotene is not vitamin A. All right, beta-carotene is pre-vitamin A. It needs to be converted into vitamin A, and this does not always occur. So to our vegetarian friends or vegan friends, you might want to consider supplementing with a little vitamin A, just my opinion. Second approach to take when it comes to these little bumps on the arms and milia and pimples and psoriasis is to use topical vitamin A. The best form, as we've said so many times on this program, is retinoic acid. You do need a prescription for retinoic acid. It comes in various strengths. 0.1% is the strongest. You can have a pharmacist compound even stronger versions if you like, but it is pretty strong. 0.1% is strong. And if your skin is not healthy and vital, you may get a little bit of irritation. So be somewhat careful if you're using the 0.1%, the strong version of retinoic acid. For little bumps on the face, you should be able to handle 0.1% maybe once or twice a week, but you may want to try 0.05%. That's a half strength or even a quarter strength retinoic acid if you're super sensitive. Topical vitamin A's effects on keratin make it a great treatment, not just for dealing with milia or pimples or little bumps, but just for softening dry skin, like the kind you get on your heels or on the bottoms of your feet, or on the sides of your feet, or even on your elbows or on your knees. This is one of the underappreciated uses of retinoic acid products. So you can put a little bit in your favorite moisturizing lotion to increase its potency, or you can use it straight. Get a prescription for retinoic acid and just use it on your heels or elbows or knees or anywhere where you have hard, dry skin. Vitamin A, topical vitamin A, can also improve the appearance of flakiness of dry skin, as flaky dry skin too. Hang tight. We got more to say about vitamin A and skin issues, and we'll talk about hormones as well when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. Talking about skin and cysteine and keratin. If you have a problem with milia, those little tiny bumps that form on your face, underneath your eyes, or sometimes on the upper arms, you want to think about fat malabsorption issues using all the strategies we talk about for improving fat absorption. Lecithin is a wonderful nutritional supplement that you can use for improving fat absorption. I just got a email today from a guy who started using lecithin after he heard us talking about it on the program. Find his email here. He says, this is Eric. He says, I've started take lecithin after listening to your show, and I'm seeing results in only a few days. And he wants to know how much and how often he should be taking. The directions say 2 tablespoons per day. Thank you for your input. You know what? There's no dose on it. It's a food. You can take as much as you want or as little as you want. 2 tablespoons per day is a great place to be. You want to think about using lecithin with all your fatty meals, especially if you are dealing with a liver or a gallbladder problem. Lecithin is a major component of bile, one of the most important of the bodily secretions, one of the most important of the digestive secretions. If you have a liver problem, if you have a gallbladder problem, your bile system may be compromised, and using lecithin can help you go a long way towards improving the absorption of vitamin A and other fatty nutrients, and that's if you have any skin issues or any health issues, or even if you don't have any health issues. Thanks for writing, by the way, Eric. All right, so improving fat absorption, strategy number 1 for skin problems. You also want to think about the supplement, of course, supplementing with vitamin A as well, but you also want to think about the hormone connection. 2 of the most important skin hormones are testosterone, androgens, so-called androgen, male hormone, although women make testosterone too, and insulin. The skin is a hormonal system. In fact, many people feel like the skin is an endocrine organ, a hormone organ. Skin cells are responsive to all hormones, especially to testosterone and insulin. Testosterone and insulin, by the way, have a lot of cross-reactivity. They are both growth hormones. They both stimulate growth. And keratosis, those bumps on the arms, pimples, milia, these are all a type of hyperactive disorder. Cells doing too much stuff, growing too fast, making too much protein, dividing rapidly, somewhat chaotically. So it makes sense that stimulating hormones like insulin and testosterone can exacerbate these hyperactive situations, these hypergrowth issues. And that means that one of the most important strategies, in addition to stabilizing fats and working on fat absorption and vitamin A, one of the most important strategies for dealing with skin issues like acne and milia and pimples and psoriasis is to stabilize your insulin levels by eating less insulin spiking foods and more protein. Oily skin is also a component of excess insulin production and insulin and stress hormone production too. So any of the symptoms or signs associated with the acne state, that is oily skin, pimples, milia, bumps, clogged pores, all of these have a very, very important sugar connection, insulin connection, and using insulin stabilizing nutrients in addition to lowering your intake of insulin spiking foods, pasta and rice and cereal and Snickers bars and fruit juice and anything that's kind of sweet, and the body has to it causes the blood sugar to go up and forces the body to use insulin to yank out the blood sugar, can mess up your skin. That's why using the Sweeties can be really effective for dealing with any of these kinds of skin issues. Sweeties from Youngevity is a chromium and vanadium product. It's a very effective blood sugar stabilizing supplement. Chromium and vanadium are 2 minerals that have a well-deserved reputation for helping potentize insulin. Alpha lipoic acid is a really neat supplement for helping stabilize insulin and blood sugar. Use about 400 milligrams a day at least. You can do 800 milligrams. You do 1,200 milligrams of alpha lipoic acid. We've talked about ALA periodically on this program. Alpha lipoic acid is an amazingly important antioxidant. It's very important for liver health, and it can be helpful for helping the body stabilize insulin and work with sugar. Clogged pores, too many cells, growing too many fats, too much fat production out of cells, oil production out of cells, too much protein. These are all reflective of excess insulin states. In fact, these are all a type of skin diabetes back in the 1950s and 1960s, even into the 1970s. Many dermatologists regarded acne as skin diabetes. It was actually called skin diabetes at one time, and anti-diabetic medicines were often used to treat acne. The skin cell, as I said, is extremely responsive to insulin, as are the sebum cells, the oil-making cells in the skin. So when we say skin diabetes, what we really mean is the higher your insulin levels, and this is what happens before we become a full-blown diabetic, insulin levels creep up and up and up, and the higher our insulin levels, the greater our chances are that we're going to be dealing with a skin condition. And then there's the hormone testosterone, the so-called male hormone. I'm guilty myself of calling it a male hormone, but it's not a male hormone really, even though men make more testosterone than women. Testosterone is a growth hormone. It's a stimulating hormone. It's an up-regulating hormone. It's a hormone that gives you vim and vigor. It's a hormone that's involved in getting you up and doing things. It helps muscles grow, and it helps the body move. Testosterone is it's an activity hormone. It's a hormone that makes us vital. And skin cells and oil cells that are responsive to insulin, likewise, are going to be responsive to testosterone. Women make testosterone too, and women are subject to hyperkeratin effects as well as men. In fact, women get those bumps on their arms even more often than men. Zinc is a super duper testosterone metabolizing mineral. In my opinion, this is one of the great underappreciated nutritional supplement minerals that you could ever use. It's cheap and ridiculously powerful for the immune system, for the skin. Zinc is stored in the skin when you cut yourself or burn yourself. Zinc is mobilized to the wound, where it turns on the production of growth factors and connective tissue. Zinc is a major anabolic mineral. It is the major building mineral. An anabolic mineral means that it's a building mineral. Zinc is the key building mineral, and there's a very important relationship between zinc and testosterone. If you're dealing with acne or oily skin or any kind of skin condition, milia, psoriasis, that kind of stuff, think about 50 milligrams of zinc. Zinc and testosterone work together, and zinc and testosterone and vitamin A all work together. Zinc and vitamin A and testosterone are kind of like a triage of nutritional supplements that are involved in growth and stabilizing the growth process. All right, got more to say. We're going to talk about some of the roles that cysteine has to play in terms of detoxification when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to The Bright Side. Perhaps some of you caught this story on CNN about Alzheimer's disease in women. Women age 60 and older have a 1 in 6 chance of getting Alzheimer's disease, but only a 1 in 6 chance of getting Alzheimer's disease, and are twice as likely to get Alzheimer's disease as getting breast cancer. Men, by comparison, according to this article anyway, have a 1 in 11 chance of getting Alzheimer's disease. We're talking about fats and fat malabsorption in the brain of a cell. It turns out that the brain of a body, the human brain, the brain inside our cranium, that breaks down with time and causes dementia, is also very responsive to fats. And using all of these fat metabolizing and fat malabsorption strategies that we talk about in this program, lecithin and bile salts and the ultimate enzymes from Youngevity, and grinding up your fatty foods, and using lipase, Lipase, and probiotics. These are all great strategies for helping the body metabolize and utilize and digest and absorb fats. Just like they'll help cells and just like they'll help improve skin conditions, they're really important brain health strategies. Vitamin E, by the way, is one of the maybe the most important vitamin for brain health. It's got a very protective effect on brain cells, as does its colleague coenzyme Q10. Vitamin E and coenzyme Q10 are very similar in chemical structure and in function. They both have very protective effects on the brain. If you're dealing with dementia, or you know somebody who's dealing with dementia, get them on 400 international units of vitamin E a day, mixed tocotrienols, and make sure you're using, or have them make sure that they're using, coenzyme Q10 in its oil-soluble format, around 100 to 200 milligrams a day. All right, we're going to talk tomorrow about the detoxing effects of the hardening protein cysteine. That's really where cysteine, well, there's a lot of things cysteine does, but my favorite place to use cysteine is in as a detox supplement. I've been using supplemental cysteine as a detox element for going on now 20 years and recommending it for just as long. It's especially important. Supplemental detoxing cysteine is especially important for keeping the skin protected from the sun. And we will talk about that tomorrow as we continue talking about the hardening effects, the detoxing effects, and also the negative effects, the downside of this very interesting amino acid cysteine. We will do that as we continue on the bright side tomorrow. We got a couple lines open for you at 8:05.